I've had something on my mind here lately. It's been a burden, but I'm going to share it with you because I think that there's some people who would benefit from this. And I'm gonna be a little bit raw in this, and I'm not gonna watch what I say, but this platform should let it go through because I ain't gonna say nothing about the central bank, so they can rest easy. But a friend of mine that I grew up with, he sobered up a few years ago. And anyway, we got back in touch just over the phone. So since he was sober, I'm sober. He's in the roofing business. So I had him come out and put a roof on my house. And we were talking, a little bit about old times, but he asked me, he said, "Man, did you hear about so-and-so and so-and-so, two friends we grew up with?" I said, "No, what happened?" "Well, one of them allegedly killed a homeless man, and he's in jail with no bond. And the other one allegedly killed his wife, and he's in jail with no bond." They were a little bit older than me. They were in their 50s. So I'm 47, so they're 53. That's their age. But not too long ago, I made a video about a guy that I knew growing up, and he had been taken advantage of sexually as a kid. He was a star quarterback. And anyway, one thing led to another because he kept that trauma in. He was a real quiet guy, never talked about it. He went and unalived a gay man from a gay bar in '94. Got locked up, put on death row, and they executed him in November of 2004 because he didn't deal with his trauma. He wasn't an addict. He was just angry. But I was thinking about my life. I never really got no misdemeanors as a kid. I went straight to the felony. And at 18 years old, after my felony, I caught a felony, and I was in the courtroom, and the DA told me, "We're going to charge you with murder. We're just waiting on the guy to recover." Sure enough, miraculously, the man makes a full recovery. I get probation, and y'all know the story if you listen to my videos. And then in '07, I screw up again. Similar kind of case. Almost kill somebody. And they make a miraculous recovery. But I was thinking about the people I know. Like, I know people doing life. And it's right now. And it all goes back to undealt with trauma. And 90% of them, 98% of them, I would say, most of them, were using to mask the pain. I'll never forget the first time I got high. I was about 13, 14, and I remember getting high, and I remember all the pain went away, and it clicked in my head, all right, this is how I get rid of the pain. And so I became a drug addict. That's what I was, straight up. Not because I was a bad guy, but because I had undealt with trauma. Drugs were there, and that's how I learned to cope. But I was asking God, I said, man, why is it, God, that you protected me? And so many people I know, like the one guy ended up on death row, got executed. So many of them doing life. I did 1 year. God protected me. And I hear about these friends of mine who are, and chances are they're gone because they've both been in and out of prison their whole life. Drugs, undealt with trauma. That's what it goes back to. This message is for the people in your addiction. I am living proof that anybody can beat an addiction, but not me. All credit to me cleaning up goes to Christ. When I was talking to God, and I was asking him, like, man, these guys are going to jail they're probably never going to get out. That's none of my business. It's not. I hope that when they're in there, because Jesus is in prison. I met Jesus incarcerated. And I've had the best church services I've ever had incarcerated. Not in these buildings that we call church, but incarcerated. Was no smoke, was no mirrors, just raw, authentic people searching for God. And it gives me hope that the two individuals I was just talking about, that maybe them going there, and maybe if they never get out, maybe that's the only way they would ever have a chance at meeting Christ. Because one of them, I mean, he's crazy. He's whacked out. He'll fight 20 people. He don't care. He's one of them. But maybe that's the only way that he will ever come to Christ. You know, maybe that's his opportunity. But then I was thinking, like, you know, why, God, do you save me? Why did you save me? Why am I still out here? Well, it's to make this video. One reason. Because, you know, if you're still in your addiction, you know, we're all just one thought away from really messing up. You know, we have to subdue our thoughts. But when you're high, you know, they don't call them spirits for nothing. You welcome spirits into your body. It's just a recipe for disaster. And I hope that somebody hears this message, listens to this video and says, you know what? He's right. You know, how many people are doing time right now? Good people. Because they got high or got drunk and thought, oh, nothing's going to happen. I can just drive that car. Or I can do this. Nothing ever happens, and it happens. And they end up in prison for life, maybe on death row, maybe just a few years, but changing your life forever. So this is the message. Not just to accept Christ and clean up, but drugs, living that life, getting high, running away from your trauma. See, there's two things there's one thing you've got to do. You have to deal with your trauma, or your trauma will deal with you. And I speak from experience. Accepting Christ into my life, even though I screwed up over and over again after I accepted him. What is it? A righteous man will fall many times, but the Lord will pick him up every time. I'm not righteous. When I accepted Christ, I was given righteousness freely through faith in him. And he picked me up every time. His word has been true in my life. But if you want to be clean, you know, if this message maybe scares you a little bit, accept Christ into your life. And I'm going to tell you, you know, a lot of people overthink this thing. You want to know how you accept Christ into your life? You just accept him into your life. Read Romans. I think it's Romans 10. I don't know. Read all of Romans. It's a good book. I would recommend go finding a quiet place, maybe a closet, just somewhere quiet, and saying, hey, God, just like you would talk to a friend, like you would talk to your neighbor. See, you have to know your neighbor exists, right? You know your neighbor, so you go and meet your neighbor and you talk to him. Well, Jesus, he exists, and you can talk to him. And he paid too heavy of a price for you not to go to him. God is approachable. I know. I approach him all the time. Me and him talk. We hang out. If that makes me crazy, good, cuckoo, woohoo, I'll be nuts. I don't mind. I don't mind that title. But I want to help people. And you don't have to get high anymore. It's playing Russian roulette. That's what getting high is. It's playing Russian roulette because your walls drop and you do things that you wouldn't do sober. Am I wrong? So I hope there's one person that listens to this video and says, you know what, today's the day I'm going to sober up. Because you can. I did. You can listen to my videos. I tell my story. One analogy, one little bit of my story at a time. But I'm sober today. And without Christ, I wouldn't be sober. There would be no hope for me. But God spared me so I could make a video and hopefully help you. And I hope this message helps somebody. I sincerely do.